Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and give this video a big thumbs up. And comment down below what you guys would like to see me make next. So without further ado, let's get started. So the things you are going to need are black, yellow, blue, white, and a pinky red fondant. You can color the fondant like I did, or you can buy it pre-colored at the store. You are also going to need some fondant tools, just as the ones that I'm showing you right here. You're also going to need a small knife and a paintbrush. You also need a circle cookie cutter, as well as a sifter with some powdered sugar in it. I would have used cornstarch, but I didn't have any. Last but not least, you are going to need a rolling pin. You can use a plastic one or a wooden one, it doesn't matter. Then you will need another circle cookie cutter that fits the top of your cupcake. I'm using one with round edges. You can use a normal one, but I find using the round edge one brings it more character. Getting started, get some yellow fondant, break a piece off, and sprinkle some powdered sugar on your workspace. Then place your fondant on your mat and grab your rolling pin and start to roll it out. If the fondant starts to stick to the rolling pin, you can always sprinkle some powdered sugar onto the rolling pin to stop it from sticking. You want to roll your fondant out, not too thin, probably about ½ inch thick, and then use your cookie cutter to cut it out. You really want to make sure that when you go in with the cookie cutter that you push it down really hard, because you don't want to mess up the sides. So once this is done, you want to carefully remove the fondant and set it to the side. So the original cookie cutter that I was going to use is actually too small for this part of the eyes. So what I'm going to use now is a piping tip coupler that I found. And so what I basically am going to do is I'm going to roll the white fondant out. And then I'm going to use a piping tip coupler to cut out the eyes. And then once I'm done cutting the eyes, I'm going to remove the excess fondant. And then I'm going to use my fingers to kind of flatten out the eye to make it a bit bigger. So once I remove the excess fondant, as you can see here that I'm pushing it down just to kind of round it out. And then I'm going to get my fondant tool and I'm going to use the bigger ball-ended side and I'm going to kind of roll it on there gently. You don't want to break the fondant or tear it. And this is going to cause it to expand a bit as well as thinning it out. And then I'm going to tap it a bit more just to smooth it out. This way there aren't a lot of rough bumps around the edges. And then I'm going to pick it up very carefully and I'm going to attach it to the fondant. If so happens when you go to pick it up and you mess it up a bit, you can just smooth it around on the edge of your finger just to kind of fix it up. You can also use one of your tools to fix it up as well. And then I'm going to use the big ball tool again to kind of flatten it out and kind of push it into the fondant. You don't want to do it too hard once again because you don't want to tear or break the fondant, but you kind of just want to flare it out. So I'm going to keep doing this until I get to the desired shape that I want. And then you can also get another fondant tool. This one is more thinner and it has more of a pointy edge. And you can use that around the eyes to kind of sharpen them up. Now I'm going to get some of this light blue fondant here and I'm going to roll that out. I'm going to use the small silver cookie cutter that I showed you before, and that's the part that I'm going to use for the inner part of the eye. So once you cut out the eyes, you want to make sure that you pick them up very carefully and then you're going to add them to the eye. You can also add some water onto your paintbrush and add it so the eye can stick better. Then you can get your knife or a fondant tool so you can place the eye where you want it to without messing it up or indenting it anywhere with your fingers. So now what you want to do is you want to get some black fondant. You're going to break it into a small piece and then break those two into small pieces and then you're going to roll it into little balls. you want to make sure that they're the same size because these are going to be the pupils of the eye. So once I put it onto the eye, I'm going to use my fondant tool to fix it up and put it into the place that I want it to. And then I'm going to use the flat side of it, and I'm going to pat it down just to secure it in place, as well as kind of rounding it out. Now I'm going to make the mouth of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some black fondant. I'm going to roll it out with the rolling pin. I'm going to roll it out pretty thin, but not too thin to where it's very delicate, but you don't want it too thick either. So as you can see, I'm measuring it to the face of him just to make sure that I'm getting it right. And then I'm going to get this cookie cutter here and kind of make that mouthy shape to where it's like the dip. So as you can see here, I'm using my fondant tools to kind of reshape the mouth and fix up the lines. So now I'm going to add it to his face, and then I'm going to start kind of stretching it out just so we can really get those sharp edges on the edge of the mouth. Now I'm going to get some yellow fondant. I'm going to get 2 little pieces and I'm going to roll them into 2 little balls. And then I'm going to add them to the very corners of the mouth. Now I'm going to get my flat round fondant tool and I'm going to press down onto the corners of the mouth. I don't want to push down too much because I don't want to lose the roundness of the corners of his mouth. And then I'm going to get a wet paintbrush and I'm going to make sure that the ends of the mouth are secure, and then flatten it out again just to make sure that it's really good on there. Now I'm going to get that pinky red fondant and I'm going to make the mouth of SpongeBob. So what you're going to do is you want to get just a really small amount and you're going to want to roll it into like a oval type shape here, as you can see. And then I'm going to get my fondant tool with the thin flat side and I'm going to kind of flatten it out. And then I'm going to get the thin pointy side and I'm going to make an indentation for the tongue. And then I'm going to add it to the mouth. So once I add it to the mouth, I'm going to use the fondant tool to give it a bit of a deeper indentation. Now I'm going to start on SpongeBob's teeth. So what you're going to do is you're going to get a very small piece of white fondant and you can flatten it out with your finger or a rolling pin. I kind of did it with both. And then what you want to do is you want to cut it into a very thin rectangle. And then you're going to cut that rectangle in half so you have 2 squares. You're going to pick them up gently with your fondant tool and you're going to add it to the mouth. Once you've added it to the mouth, you can use your fondant tools to flatten it out and kind of position it where you want it to go, as well as cleaning up the edges. As you can see here, I'm just fixing up his teeth, positioning it to where I want it to go, as well as cleaning up the fine lines. So once you're happy with how your teeth are positioned, you're going to get some more yellow fondant and you're going to roll it into a bit of a long oval shape. Once you've done that, you're going to want to add that to SpongeBob's face. You can use a bit of water if you like, once again. And then you can use your fondant tool to set it in place. And then I'm also going to use the flat edge to kind of tap it in and just make sure that it's secure in there. So now you can slowly see it coming together. So this next part is the most time-consuming part. This is the eyelash part. So what you want to do is you want to get a little ball of fondant and you're going to roll it very thinly, as you can see here. And then you're going to want to cut that part in half and you're going to add it to the top of his eyelash using the thinner fondant tool. So once I place the eyelashes on the eye, I'm using that fondant tool just to really make sure that it's really pushed into that edge of the eye and to make sure that it's really secure so they don't fall off. I'm going to keep doing this until I am satisfied with the eyes. Once I've fully added on all the lashes, I'm going to use the fondant tool just to kind of flick them up just to make them more realistic. And then I'm going to use a small fondant ball tool and I'm going to indent his face. You can indent his face anywhere you want and you can do it as many times as you want. And then once you have completed this, you're done. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.